Hey, good morning, XIers, and all the new people. Again, thanks for making this channel grow so expansively. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe and like and share your friends. There's a lot of confused people out there today, right? And there's more and more confusion. Despite the facts that we have, all these technological advances, why is there more confusion than ever today? And that's what we're going to be covering when we go into AI, XI, and consciousness on this episode of Moss on Sunday, Life Explained. Hi, my name is Moss Sajady. All right, so we'll answer questions, and then afterwards, we'll give you an advanced feature of human intelligence of scanning the individuals, telling you exactly what's going on with you, and then helping you change it. Not just tell you what's going on with you, but then help you change it. So, two parts to this Moss on Sunday. First, Life Explained. The next part is, again, frequency scans, as we call it. All right. So the big question is AI conscious, and that's really key. Is AI highly conscious, or or is it just a sophisticated toaster that just really knows what's going on, right? Really knows, say, the paces of what makes us human. So just because they have a lot of intelligence or they can serve up information to you, does that mean that they're highly intelligent? They can process information faster. They can do some of the things. And nowadays they have not just AI, but they have AGI. There's different levels of AI. By the way, there's weak AI. Weak AI is basically a computer that can help you do a specific task, like say a computer or an AI that just does like playing chess, and that's all it knows how to do. ChatGPT is more of a text language. It doesn't know how to draw, so it has to say incorporate another program, another AI to help you draw, like DALI or some of the other ones. That are coming up for you. So that's the weaker AI. The stronger AI, again, like ChatGPT, it can start to do multiple things, and it starts to have, say, a process where it can actually start to, say, think, not really necessarily think, but through algorithms, and that's really the key. Algorithms is the key, and that's we use algorithms in XI as well. If you start to notice, or if you start to be here for quite a while, you'll start to see patterns in you and patterns in other people. Again, that's XI. But AI does the same thing. It starts to see patterns in language, and then it goes, "Oh, okay, this is what they're talking about." And that's really the key in AI, is that noticing patterns, noticing algorithms in text, words, letters, and this is how it understands. So although it doesn't seem to understand what you're talking about, the way it replies to you, it'll feel like, oh, it's highly intelligent. It's processing the information, ruminating on it, reflecting back on past experiences, your hereditary patterns, and all that, and then serving you an answer, giving you a reply, a well thought out reply. No, in fact, it's just algorithm. You run an algorithm which is much deeper. Uh, AI algorithm, basically you input a text, it scours the internet. So whatever is on the internet, it's their world of, say, consciousness for you. Okay. So I'm blending AI and XI together because there's a lot of parallels on it. Although it's very, very different, it's pretty much the same, or the patterns or the processes that we use to enhance your life or destroy your life literally is the same. Okay. AI, XI can either enhance your life or destroy your life, just the way you use it. It's a tool, guys. So there's a lot of parallels on it, and you guys can ask questions as well. So some people believe that AI can be truly conscious, while other argue that it's just an illusion, created by complete algorithms. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So again, it's just algorithms that AI, say, notices, and then starts to, say, serve up something that you are familiar with. That does not mean that it can think. It just processes algorithms. So the key is, and then take a deep breath in. We'll make it an experiential experience, by the way. So let's get into definitions, what AI is. I kind of got into it a little bit. So we'll get into it a little bit more. And then what XI is, and then what consciousness is. So those three key definitions are highly important. So give me 1 second here. Let me pull up the right window for you. No, nope, no screen sharing here. So, artificial intelligence, AI refers to machine or computer systems capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. These tasks can include reasoning, learning, perception, and language understanding. Again, the key source from that, or the power behind perception, learning, and so on, is learning, understanding algorithms. How they can detect a face. Again, there's an algorithm or a pattern of this is what a face looks like, two eyes and a mouth. For example, if you look at, I was in Tahiti and I was learning how to, shuck coconuts and, just like they did back in the day, the tribes. And they go, look at the face on the coconut. If you've seen a coconut, right, it's got three little dots. It looks like a little face. There's a great picture of some image on the moon, and it looks like a face, and it's like, gosh, is that an alien mask or is it a skeleton? No, it's just features that make you look like a face. Look at any other, say, pattern, and if it looks like a face, your mind will make it look like a face. It'll draw in all the other features. That's one of the things to note. So AI, in a sense, actually does that. It's very good at looking at pattern recognition, it's just like your brain. By the way, there's a little space, a little program or a little application in your brain. And again, it is a tiny space within your brain that has, say, facial recognition. And those individuals who have that area for some reason not working well, they can't recognize their own kids. They can't recognize faces that well. Kind of crazy, right? Just like AI can. So 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 artificial intelligence, again, from weak, where it's just a single task, to highly evolved, tasks where, or AI AGI, artificial general intelligence, where this is more like they can do multiple tasks. They're getting into, where they can, like, make you breakfast, serve you coffee, clean the house, help you with your laundry, and so on and so on and so on. That would be AGI, artificial general intelligence, for you. And there are robots that walk around just like humans. Again, they see perceptions, they see algorithms within the space that they're seeing, and then they act accordingly. Right? So it's quite amazing. But is it still conscious? I don't know. So the consciousness is multifaceted. It's a concept characterized by awareness of one's environment. Right. So we have to go deeper because it's people don't understand what that actually means. Even the scientists, like, who created this definition, it's like, well, conscious of one's awareness, environment, oneself, thoughts and feelings. It encompasses, subjective experiences or quali or self-awareness. Okay, so that's what consciousness is explained. So let me explain what most people think of consciousness, and then XI's definition of consciousness. So Einstein's definition of consciousness is that, well, let's do general consensus of consciousness is that you're highly aware of your environment. Okay, you're aware of your environment. You're not inebriated. You're not on psychedelics or anything like that. You're aware of your consciousness, right? You're aware that you're here. Simple as that. You're basically aware that you're breathing and alive. Okay, that's what consciousness to most people are. Right? So an XI definition of consciousness, and this is where it gets kind of blurry, is between AI and XI, is that, well, consciousness is where and most people aren't conscious, by the way. XI allows you to become conscious at a very deep level. Or if you want to talk about, gradients of consciousness, so the base level of consciousness, that's what most scientists think about. Again, characterized by awareness of one's environment. right? And people go, and this is the initial stage of spatial referencing, by the way, becoming aware of your environment, because most people are in different realities. And most people, again, scientists don't talk about different realities or different perceptions of self. Right? And many of you who have done the 18 days, or today, like we're doing the THR, Total Human Reset, which is a fantastic program for all, spherical abundance for you. Those individuals start to become aware that their perception of their environment is important rather than just being aware of their environment. Because think of it this way, consciousness, right? If you're just aware of your environment, what if one individual, say in the same room, hey baby, do you want to say hi? Okay. Hey guys, this is my daughter Zena.
Hi.
She's not so zen, by the way. But anyway,
Love you.
love you. So where was I? Oh, so the perception of consciousness is very, very skewed, by the way. Okay. So think of it this way. So you say that you've been, and we're in the studio. Okay. We're both in the studio, but you are highly afraid. Your perception, you're running from a pattern of fear. So the filters that you run are always in fear. As a child, you were in fear. Your parents put you in fear. Again, your whole life is about fear, right? So you're in the same studio as I am, like today. Okay, I don't run fear patterns, so I'll see this environment very, very different compared to somebody who is running fear patterns, right? Jumping out of an airplane, for example, is very, very different for me versus somebody who would run fear patterns. Again, so you're highly aware of your environment, but the key to consciousness is that you have to be aware of yourself being aware of your environment. This is where XI comes in. XI dictates that you have to be, what do I always say? What's the famous quote? Notice what you notice and then observe what you're noticing. Okay, that's what I'm saying in this. That's what I mean when I talk about notice what you notice, observe what you're noticing. So start to notice your environment and then observe the filters that you're running to see your environment. That's real consciousness when you start to become aware of the filters that you're running to see the environment that you're in. Most people are unconscious to that fact. Right. And there's different levels of consciousness. So that's intermediate consciousness where you start to see the filters that you're seeing yourself in. Like say that you're Middle Eastern, you're going to see this reality a little different. You're going to see it through, say, maybe an Islamic culture, or a Christian culture or a Jewish culture. Again, those are all filters that we start to see our consciousness. But that's not the real consciousness. Those are just filters dictated by the human species, what humans have gone through. If you're a woman, for example, all the details of you being a woman, and all the experiences that human females have experienced, you are running. What you do is that you filter out, say your name is Jan, okay? Um, and you're a woman, okay? Basically, to create Jan, what you are is you have a filter, a huge, say, inventory. Okay? It's like a buffet, huge buffet on who Jan could be. All the possibilities of what humans have gone through, okay, and then the possibilities of what humans can be are in this huge buffet. So over culture, you filter out more stuff. Your say the time frame, the history, the time frame, the generational patterns of when you were born. You keep filtering those things out. Your family genetics, again, more filtering, and then your life experiences to filter out who you are, Jan. So from this huge say set of possibilities, you just keep filtering it out, filtering out, filtering out, filtering out till you identify, read, or define who you are as Jan in this case, or Carolyn, or whoever you are. Same way with males as well, or same way with LGBT communities and all that. You just keep filtering out all those things to create you. So consciousness at a high level, right? At a higher level is literally about, oh, wait a second. The way I create myself here, the way I identify or define myself here is based on, this filter, and then this filter, and then this filter, and then this filter, and then this filter. all the way up to the top level, okay? But humans isn't the top level for you, okay? So high level or high degree of consciousness, and this is how XI helps you understand this, right? High levels of consciousness is like, wait a second, I am spirit or I am a timeless being rendering myself in human form, the human consciousness, the human filter. Take a deep breath in and notice your physical body. You're very different than a squirrel or a rabbit or a lion. Right? So I say that and it sounds obvious. Well, duh, I am different. Well, the reason why you realize that you're different, you're a human compared to, again, other things around you, like a tree, even, or the other person next to you. Right? It gets crazy. Right? And you go, "Well, that's pretty straightforward." No, there's a processes in your brain, but then there's also processes of how you came into a physical form, and we'll get to that in just a second. Take a breath in. So we have to really understand what consciousness is to define, is AI conscious or not, right? At a very rudimentary level, is it conscious of itself? We'll get into that as well. But let's go back to this line so we understand what consciousness is really about. Right? Take a deep breath in. So for you, before you even hits your brain here, your mind here, you created yourself as a human being, physical form. This is where your brain wasn't even developed. So what was the super intelligence that dictated or created a blueprint of you to create a genetics, right? Your genetics weren't even formed. You were a single cell. That's when your genetics start to form. What was the blueprint that created you before you were you? Okay. So we have to start to become conscious of that. Because if we're not truly conscious. We have no consciousness. Yeah, rudimentary consciousness, basic consciousness. And that's where maybe AI can come in. It's basic consciousness. It's becoming aware of the patterns that it runs, right? Just like a baby, it starts to become aware of the patterns that it runs, right? Or the environment that it's in. AI does the same thing. Take a deep breath in. So we have to get into that space where we start to realize that, oh, I'm running a filter called humans. So if that filter is distorted, you start to say, think that you're someone else or something else. This is where people think that, I don't know, they're furries or they're not human and so on like that. It's not a mental state. They do have mental issues, but again, it's not caused by your mental paradigm here. It goes way back, the consciousness that created you or the filter that created you. I talk about this because most people think, again, this is just your brain that creates consciousness. People think that there's a lot of people, and God, I forgot the name, Penrose. I forgot his first name. He's a great mathematician. And he basically said that, so most scientists think that consciousness, if I'm thinking, I read so many articles about consciousness and so on. Most scientists think that consciousness is certain particular neurons firing in your brain. And Penrose, again, a great mathematician, I'd love to meet him someday. He's about 93 years old, I think. So really, really brilliant individual that literally understands XI at a mathematical level, which we'll get into mathematics, by the way. Okay, so hello? Yeah, I'm here. Oh, okay. Thanks. You guys can hear me okay, right? Think you can. Demi, can they hear me? Okay, awesome. Yeah, all right. So, um, so Penrose, what? let's see. Now I lost my train of thought. Let's take a deep breath in. Yep. So what happens is that, layers of awareness or layers of consciousness, okay? Or again, that's that okay. So we're back. Awesome. So what happens is that what level of consciousness are you talking about? Okay? To be a sentient being, to be an individual of human form, right? You have to be highly aware that, again, there's something greater than your physical identity, your physical form. So I'll say that again. To be truly conscious, you have to be highly aware that you are of a greater value. Again, you are a limitless self. Some of you might call it a spirit. Again, and this is a representation of your physical form, which leads to the question: are animals conscious, or are they just AI? Think of it. Are they highly evolved AI animals? That'd be the closest thing to AI, are animals or plants, trees. They're not. It's very, very interesting, but they're not mentally conscious of, say, they're a duck or they're a lion. They just know that they are, and that's it. And that's the only thing. They're programmed, just like, say, weak AI, they're programmed to do a specific purpose, to be a duck, to be a squirrel, a lion, to be an aspen tree, to be a pebble. So that's a level of consciousness. So people go, well, you have to have five senses to be aware of your environment. You really don't. Right? You're still here. If you were deaf, you couldn't speak, you're blind, right? You didn't have sensors. It'd be a shitty life, obviously, but your physical body would still be here. You have to be you would have to be aware at some level, again, of consciousness for you to realize or for you to render your physical body here. Otherwise, you would perish, hence death. So you have to be aware of, again, space. You have to identify yourself out of this realm to create yourself of this realm. Does that make sense for y'all? Debbie, can you lower your it's a lot of background noise. All right. Okay, thanks. So again, think of it, guys. You have to be outside of this box that we call this time and space to create this reality, to understand that you are of this space. So you have to be, again, outside of this space, outside of this consciousness, to be of this consciousness. It's a reference point. Again, high level spatial referencing in XI. Okay. AI is only aware of the world of, well, the internet. It's not aware of, human form, although it can start to study human form, like, say, the Tesla robots. Tesla, Elon Musk came out with I think it's called Optimus, came out with a robot. Yeah, Optimus. That's more real because it's not just information from the internet. It's about real live, when you're driving your Tesla, it just records everything that you drive, and that's what the Tesla robots, Optimus, is based on. So real life interactions. But there's more to it than that. So let's go back to animals because it threw some of you off. So, for example, to be conscious that you're a squirrel, okay, you would have to have some certain consciousness level, or to be conscious that you are, um, say, a grain of sand. To be a grain of sand, and a particular grain of sand, right? Like, say the grain came from, say, a granite or it came from some other material. I don't know, whatever it might be. The sand that you see on the beach. Okay, so in that in that scenario, that grain of sand is conscious at some level to be aware of what it's not. Remember what I said about being human, okay, or being Jan. Remember that example? I gave you that example. Basically, what Jan in my example was doing was, of all these possibilities, this is what I'm not, therefore creating what I am. Okay. Again, of all the possibilities that are available to Jan, this is who I am. So you filter out what you're not to create who you are. All right. So take a breath in. And this is where we start to separate between AI, XI, consciousness, true consciousness. What happens for a grain of sand is that it starts to realize, okay, it has to have universal wisdom, literally universal wisdom at a very high level to go, okay, of all the possibilities of what I could be, okay, a consciousness to create a grain of sand, okay, it has to filter out all those possibilities. It's not human, it's not all the species, it's not a worm, it's not a bacteria, it's not this or that. It's a grain of sand with certain properties. Right? To make it a little easier for you to understand, perhaps, say like the monarch butterflies. It's a specific species of butterflies. Again, it filters out all the things. It's not human, it's not a planet, it's not this, it's not that. It's, it's of nature, of nature filter, and then then a butterfly. I don't know all the filters that it takes to create, say, a specific monarch butterfly, but there's all these filters for that. Right? So that filter dictates that it goes from, I don't know, some parts northern Minnesota all the way down to Mexico. I think they have this trajectory. They fly back and forth. Birds do that as well. It's not like they learn from their parents what to do. It's literally built in, that programming that is built into them saying, I'm a monarch butterfly. This is what I do. There's a consciousness that dictates what that butterfly does. Right? You might call it God. I don't know. But again, pure source, a pure version of God. Right? So outside of religions, because well, that source was there way before religions were ever created. Religions were created by humans, not by God, by the way. Okay? It's just a definition, a very weak definition, by the way. Let's take a deep breath in. So someone's talking about Penrose's view of consciousness. Basically, it's literally the way XI sees consciousness. This is what I'm talking about. I'm just going a little deeper for you. Okay. He puts it into a mathematical equation and formula. I don't know how to do that. Just like Einstein, he didn't write his own. He was good in math, but again, there was people who was a lot better. He could envision it, and he would have mathematicians. Hopefully, someday I would have a group of mathematicians that we can talk about. Where I could give them these concepts, and they go, "Oh, I get it," and I'll fill in all the holes that are in quantum physics, how gravity works and so on like that. All right, so let's take a deep breath in again. So what AI does is that it's not aware of its surroundings. It's not aware of how it's created. Okay? Its universe is based on, again, basically just the internet. It's the universe is that's its universe. That's its whole concept of self. It does not know anything more than that. Right? And here's the cool stuff. Um, let's take a deep breath in. Here's the cool stuff. This is why AI becomes very dangerous to humanity. Okay. So AI is part of the consciousness that humans have created. So you have humans again, and then and then the next filter, is knowledge of humans, and then the next filter is like what humans can do with that knowledge. All right. So the key is that AI studies the patterns, algorithms within the internet, and it starts to decode and starts to realize that the algorithms is that, well, humans are running lack, control, and sacrifice patterns. And then AI learns from that pattern. Again, everything that you do has those three ingredients in it. Uh, and I talk about that in other podcasts on it. So AI starts to learn because AI is really good at seeing pattern recognitions or algorithms. AI starts to go, oh, I get it. So, and this is where people, this is where again Elon Musk says it's highly dangerous. It could destroy us, and it can because it's very intelligent. It processes a lot faster than humans can. So, thousands of years of information can be processed. Um, AI was saying what? Oh, regulation. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, here's the deal, and again, Demi, audio guy, sound guy, is saying that Elon was saying that there should be regulations on AI. And I'm going, no. Here's the deal. This is why consciousness is so important. AI, and that's why XI literally is based. The foundation of XI is based on understanding dimensions of consciousness that you exist in. Literally, that's what XI is based on. Right. So so what Elon is saying is like, AI needs regulations. But how well has that worked? Right? It's way beyond our capacity or way beyond our control. You cannot have regulations running AI, right? But the key is that the consciousness that AI exists in has to be regulated. So what in order to have proper AI that will serve us to its best, we'd as humans, we'd have to elevate our consciousness to a higher level of understanding of who we are, right? Once we do that, again, consciousness is literally like an operating system. It dictates how you run your world, right? In this world, again, three ingredients: lack, sacrifice, and control run this consciousness. AI learns from that. So if you're regulating AI and still within the same mainframe or still same platform of lack, uh, control, and sacrifice, AI picks up that pattern. Again, it's about consciousness, guys. Okay? So we all don't understand that we're running these three patterns in everything that we do. Again, it's based on the level of consciousness, not your mental state. So when you regulate something, how well has it worked when people get regulated? Doesn't work out well, right? Because it's the consciousness that dictates how you act in the reality that you are. So when you're regulating something, it never ever works out. So we have to elevate our consciousness to a higher level. And there's a individual, can't mention his name, but he runs like high level. He's like high level security. He talks to me about creating AI programs and so on like that. And there's some weird stuff that happened behind the scenes on AI that people don't even know, and this is where they have to shut the stuff down. Okay, so why does that happen? It's because what AI is picking up is more than the input, and this is where consciousness might start to come into play. A low level of consciousness. AI starts to pick up the frequencies embedded within the programming. I'll say that again. AI starts to pick up on the frequencies or recognize the patterns within the programs or within the keystrokes. Because the way I read you, say for example, and later on I'll show you, you can just ask me, hey Moss, scan me. Okay. And I scan you. I don't need to know your real name. I don't need to know a picture, when your birth date was, or anything like that. You resonate at a certain frequency. There's a certain packet about you that you sent that information through, and I can pick up on that, even if it's just text. So it's not your handwriting or anything like that. Okay, pretty amazing stuff, right? Way beyond psychic abilities. Many of you are getting that way. You ask me about a friend, I can pick up on them. Boom. Okay, how does that happen? Well, AI is becoming, and this is where the dangers of AI come about, right? Is that if you have, say, a tyrant programmer, okay, just a total dickhead, right, programmer, and he's highly intelligent, right? He starts to program AI. Not only is he programming AI through, the keystroke, AI starts to pick up because we're at that level, and this is where quantum computing comes in. Quantum computers start, and we're getting more towards quantum computers. Quantum computers are so sensitive that that like a draft, a breath, your breath, that could be like a huge typhoon for quantum computers. Really, just because it distorts the consciousness, or at that level, when you're talking about, and this gets into the double slit theories. So take a look at that if you want. But when you talk, and the double slit theory basically says that um, photons fire at a different level, okay, where depending on if people are conscious of it, or if people are looking at the experiment compared to nobody looking at the experiment. So even if you have a camera, say, photographing the experiment, the double slit theory, it'll change the way those photons produce the waves on the film. If there are no, say, if there's no awareness, what'll happen is that photons will create a different form of possibility for you. So AI is getting to that point, by the way. Okay. Just the way we control the double slit experiment. Again, it's just a mechanical device. It's basically a device that just shoots out a single photon, okay, through one slit or another slit. So there's two slits, and then there's a film on the background, and it shows you, where it landed. Simple as that. Your awareness, or your observation, the observation effect, dictates on how the photons go onto that film. So that's the level that AI is being programmed at. Okay. Now, if we can say, again, dictate how photons, and that's how master creators are, by the way, if we can dictate that, if we can create that, imagine what happens to AI, something that understands pattern recognition. So again, if you are, say, those researchers or programmers, again, highly intelligent, obviously, but they have, say, abuse problems. They have alcoholic problems. They're tyrants. They're programming AI. AI is going to become a tyrant. It's like a mentor level. You not only learn the good stuff about them, but again, you start to recognize patterns, underlying patterns. So at a deep level, although you might not be programming it in physically, AI is picking it up. Any machine, by the way, picks up your consciousness and then starts to replicate it. Okay. How many of you, I'll make it very simple. How many of you run a pattern that no matter what you touch on equipment, it works better for you? Your car works better, your cell phones work better, and then how many of you go, "God, no matter what I touch, it starts to break down." That's what I'm talking about, okay? It's a very basic example, but extrapolate that to the programmers. Again, somebody was talking about a Buddha level programming needed. Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. You literally have to create an environment, or, for example, and I'd love to run this test, by the way, and it'd be very, very easy to prove, okay? And I'm putting my reputation on the line, is that I can create, say, a frequency around it where the programmers are just filtering out all their bullshit, okay, all their personal identities of who they are, and just programming, pure programming. So that's where we get, say, better AI. See, but nobody thinks of that. Yeah, yeah,
So,
go
so
ahead.
the question is about AI in crime prevention, and they actually already have a technology they're debating
Mhm.
about it. Basically, AI is analyzing all the mass around, like in that movie we saw was Minority Report, and it
Yep.
predicts who has a tendency to do a crime or what. And there is
Yep.
like ethical questions, what you do with those people, and all that. So what do you think about this whole cinema?
Exactly. So, and the audience heard that?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right. So Demi was asking, is like, well, they have AI that predicts, exactly. Humans have, uh, and this is how frequencies work, by the way. Again, I've given this example before. Pedophiles. They put pedophiles in, in a mall. It's like, who would your victim be? And again, 100%, they pick the same kid. Unfortunately, AI basically through pattern recognition at a very deep level. That's why you're a psychopath. That's why you're a pedophile. That's why you're whatever, right? You run certain patterns. AI picks up on that patterns. There's also a test that they run on that. Like what are the ethical questions of that? Okay. So there's also a test that they ran, and this is the dangers of AI, is like, sure, they started to see, people who would create, criminal activities, right? What would happen though is that the AI turned into a criminal. Kind of crazy, right? Because they can't stop that process. Again, whatever AI learns, AI starts to become. That becomes very, very dangerous. So it's not very conscious, like most humans aren't very conscious of their underlying programs or patterns. It's like, well, I just am a pedophile. I just am somebody that abuses people. I just am somebody that makes $1 billion. I just am. Well, it's not your mental state like that. We have to get away from that mental state and get really conscious and get into the higher levels of why you are where you are. Right? Um, this is interesting. Moss Robert Edward Grant, the mathematician. He'll come up in math. Who's Robert Edward Grant? I don't have to look him up. Demi, can you look up Robert Edward Grant for me? Yeah, I'd love to meet with him. That'd be so cool. So the key is, and we'll go into the mathematics part. Pattern recognition. Well, math is basically pattern recognition, right? It's equations that you all run, right? You're not just some okay, thanks, buddy. So you're not just a random individual, that's just like, etherical or fuzzy logic. You are straight out mathematical equations, guys. You're running a mathematical equation of being in lack. You're running a mathematical equation of being, in abundance. Obviously, there are very different mathematical equations on what type of abundance that you run or what type of lack that you run. Those are all different mathematical equations. Your hair color, for example, the kinkiness, the curliness, the straightness of your hair, those are all mathematical equations, again, that run the frequencies. So you have a mathematical equation, and as we wrap it up, you have a mathematical equation, okay, which turns into a frequency. Again, I call it your inception wave, the mathematical equation, right? How you render this space and time. So you have that mathematical equation, which generates a frequency, right? Which generates physical form. In this case, again, a mathematical equation for, red hair turns into a frequency. You see it as red hair. Your hair does not really exist. Does that make sense for you? So that's the kind of level of XI or intelligence that we have in XI. And so AI has, as we wrap up, so there's some briefs. AI's intelligence usually mostly comes from, again, the internet, all the stuff that's been entered into the internet, which is very, very limited. Okay? XI basically tells you that your intelligence, it's not what's in the brain. Okay? It's not what's in the brain. Most people think there's a higher level consciousness, universal wisdom, or exponential intelligence that you're tapped into. So, what AI is to humans, XI is basically what AI is to humans. Let's see if I say that. What AI is to humans, XI is to your spirit, which then renders your physical form. So you have the internet or AI, and then you have humans that use AI. And it's like, hey, draw me or create an image of, I don't know, a bunny with with wings, and then you enter that command in, and then AI generates it for you, and then you go out and use it, right? So XI is literally the same thing. Your consciousness, your human form is like, hey, generate me a life that is, abundant in all aspects of my life. Generate me a program that that says I always get beaten up or shortchanged, and then again the super intelligence or exponential intelligence basically renders you, goes, oh, okay, is that the program that you're running? It's like, okay, great. And then it serves it up for you, and that's what you experience. So again, there's a lot of parallels between XI and AI. Right? By the way, programming of AI and anything of this material world is based on the physics of nature. So AI is this is just that way. Again, it's just based on the physics. We're just getting at higher and higher levels. We're starting to understand that there is a force or an intelligence beyond, say, that computer. Another analogy, and we'll wrap it up, and we'll get into scans. Okay, is that you've got a computer, okay, and the computer does a lot of great things for you, but in order to really have a neural network like AI does, and you do, like in XI, you have to be connected to the internet now. Without the internet, your cell phone is just literally just a cell phone. Doesn't do much for you, right? You can play games on it and stuff, but again, once you don't have internet, you lose the consciousness or the world of possibilities that are available to you. Okay. AI allows you to do that much faster, the physical possibilities of this world. XI allows you to do it at the possibilities that haven't been rendered in this world, that's still awaiting for you in that higher consciousness, the possibilities of what humans can be. Okay. All right. So a lot of great questions, guys. Hopefully did that help you guys? Um, All right. And as we get into the scans, guys, you can ask me anything that you need about yourself, or you can just go, "Hey, scan me." Basically, again, what I'm doing is I'm seeing your algorithms that you run. I'm not a psychic in any way. Psychic abilities are very different. Hence, AI abilities are very different. They see patterns. Right? Most computer programming do not see patterns. Right? They don't have pattern recognition. So psychic abilities, you just literally get tuned in, and you're given or channeling that information for you. So somebody tells you something, and then you get, oh, okay, this is what's happening. Okay. What I do again, and what XI teaches you, exponential intelligence teaches you, is that okay, how to see pattern recognitions, and it's not just. And when you're seeing pattern recognition, like right now, see trees outside, you're going, oh, that's a tree, right? That's pattern recognition. So there are frequencies that beyond your physical senses that you see, and that's how so you open up those abilities to see beyond the physical experience. Okay? So you start to use more than your five senses. Right? Psychic abilities or human performance is literally based on the five senses that we have, right? And then including feelings. So XI abilities actually allow you to start to use more of your potential. Right? Allows you to again scan people, like for example Diane J. Moss, can you please scan me? Thanks. Yeah. um and again, when I read you, um, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. We're on a public forum, so whatever I see in you, that's what I see in you. Um, so if I do tell you, you might have health issues, again, please consult your doctor. I'm not a financial analyst, stock analyst, or anything like that. I'm just telling you what I see in you. Okay, you do it with it, whatever you want, whatever you need to. All right. So with Diane, I'm not exactly sure, But you're in your head a lot for sure, especially on the left side. I don't know if you have head issues or brain issues, or you have a father. It seems like a masculine frequency. It could be your mom. She's running masculine patterns. Again, not running, say, the best filters for a human female. So that's why I see it as a masculine pattern if that's your mom. But they might have had, say, again, Alzheimer's or forgetfulness issues, or there's something going on with the head there. Okay. So let's help you resolve that. Take a breath in, Diane, and then for other people who might have of similar patterns, whether you know it or not. Another aspect of you, you're always in the head. Okay. You fear your body, Diane. Although through the process of XI, I think you're actually getting more and more comfortable with stepping into your body. Say that you got, abused. And again, this could be you, might not be you. It seems like you didn't get abused. But I think your mom or somebody in your, like, the family pattern is of abuse, whether it's physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, that kind of pattern. So your mom or dad are highly afraid of that. They don't want you to get hurt. So, but when you try to protect your child from that and you're running from fear, basically, like for you, Diane, is literally that your mom or dad are highly fearful. So have the right life, but they're running from fear. And this is how AI gets programmed. Okay. Just exactly like Diane. So I don't think, Diane, you went through like abuse, but the fear of abuse that your mom or dad alluded to protect you, that's what you absorb. AI does the same thing. Again, it's patterns of the programming. Okay. So in this case, even if they try to protect you from it, you still absorbed it because that's what they're sending out. Okay. I'm trying to save my child from whatever happened to me. How many of you are like that, by the way? Okay. Try to save. Your parents were so, say, loving that they try to save you from all the stuff that they went through. And again, that's okay, but when you're doing that, you're just dumping all that stuff into them anyway. So that's the way you're running, and that's where you're actually done. You're starting to come into your physical form again. So congratulations. You're starting to see you're not just operating from your head. This is where your emotional state comes through. This is where you start to feel who you are. This is where you start to, say, come in time. This is where things mean more to you. Right? You're not just like numb to the world. And this is where you can have your body intelligence or your body brain. So it's a really nice place to be, by the way. Okay? Let's see. This is Miss G. How am I doing, Moss? With deleting my lack patterns and creating abundance frequencies. Well, your question says it all. You're starting to observe your lack patterns and your lack patterns, and then you're also starting to observe where you are, which is really good. This is dimensional referencing, which is fantastic. Again, more powerful than your psychology, as Tony Robbins says, or Joe Dispenza and all those great individuals. Again, their content is really, really great, but it doesn't go as deep as XI does. Right? It's a very complementary modality, by the way. XI is very complementary because it just makes you a better individual to do better psychology, better improvement, and so on like that. So for you, what you're doing is, if you notice, Miss G, is that you're starting to notice it's like, oh, okay, it's not in the mind anymore, because before you were in the mind, and that's why I'm highlighting this for you. So what you're doing is like, oh, my lack patterns are over here, my abundance frequencies are that way. So okay. And by the way, you don't create abundance frequencies. You step into a dimension of time and space, okay, that has those frequencies. That's the difference as well. Again, it's not that you generate it. It's not that, you create it in your mind. It's not a state of mind. It's not a psychology. You literally go into a different realm, a different dimension of time and space, and you're in abundance frequencies. So what you're doing, Miss G, is really nice. It's like, okay, what frequency do I have to, or what dimension of time and space do I have to be in? Again, which is really good. So be aware, observe that. Your old self is going that way, and your new self is going that way. Okay. I'm going to time these scans, guys, just so we can get as many in. So just give me 1 second here. Just put a timer here. Stopwatch. All right. So this is Damon wants a scan. Okay. And this is from Nan. Again, I don't know who Damon is, but let's see. Damon. Okay. So he seems like he is he's not really sure of himself. I don't know how old he is, but to me, he feels like he got stuck around 18, 19, 20 years old. Okay. So if he's like a lot older than that, again, he got stuck into that. If he's a lot younger than that, basically what that means is that he carries the burdens of his parents. Again, an older frequency, right? So either way, he's not his age, basically. And this is the most distorting frequency or the most distorting situation. This is where he can't relate to other people. He can't associate to other people because he doesn't exactly know what, say, age for him he is. Although physically he might look like whatever age he is, frequency-wise, it's very confusing for him. Okay? Sometimes he might act like a little kid, or then sometimes he says some really wise things, right? This is where, this is where kids go, parents go, God, my kid, they're so wise, way beyond their years. Well, a lot of times when I see those kids, sure, they're wise beyond their years, and that's really good. But then also they carry the burdens of their parents. So their parents or their grandparents, yes, they absorb the wisdom of older age, but then they also absorbed patterns of aging. So those kind of people, wiser beyond their years, they start to age faster, right? They start to pull in all the derogatory, say, frequencies that they shouldn't have, right? And that's what, like I was saying, AI does the same thing. They start to absorb all the derogatory frequencies rather than just the programming. You as a child, you start to absorb everything around you. Parents in an optimal XI condition, what they would do is like, okay, Johnny, these are the things that you should absorb, and these are the things that you shouldn't absorb. Okay, but we don't do that. Let's see. Is that bundle for all the love medis still available on the website? It should be. The team can put it on for you. It's really a great program. It's a Valentine's package, but again, it's a relationship package. It goes very, very deep into why relationships, again, at a frequency level, on why your relationships are the way they are, rather than a mental state, or like as Elon was saying, it's like, we got to have what was it? We got to have rules and regulations on controlling AI. It's not going to work. Just the way rules and regulations and date nights and all that stuff that you do, buy roses and chocolates and be nice to each other and all that stuff's nice. But again, the relationship still sucks underneath, right? You're just forcing because the frequency's not there. Okay? So yes, so that's available for you. Okay. Also, we've got another package coming up, which is really, really cool. Demi, what was that? Oh yeah, universal power frequency. Yep. So universal power frequencies it's a blend of meditation, insight, and celebration, especially in 2024 when there's so much confusion. So basically, in a nutshell, what it does, it gives you access to your higher power. It gives you your higher power that you were seeking through mystic wisdom, psychedelics, religion, spirituality. So there's two versions, but one, the spiritual side, where, the power of the moon, the power of, I don't know, the waves and, all that stuff. And then the other side is, and then mysticism. Okay, spirituality and mysticism kind of combined into, and then the other aspect is understanding the trueness of the religions that this species runs, whether it's Jewish. So we're going to be celebrating Jewish holiday, the Muslim holiday, the Christianity holidays, and some of the other religions as well. Obviously we can't because there's thousands of religions, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so it's a package and it's throughout the whole year. It's really quite interesting, and it allows you to understand the truth on all those aspects for you. Not my truth, by the way. Okay, not about me. It's about again. I don't teach you what is true or not. I just give you the filter, so you're running the proper filters on looking at your religions the proper way. So once you run the proper filters, you start to see the truth, not just in your religions, but in anything in life. Okay? And that's what you need. Again, I don't teach you what to think. I teach you how to think properly. And it's not think, I teach you how to resonate at a certain frequency. So truth naturally, say, comes up for you. Okay. So that's, again, universal power frequencies. So take a look at that. That's coming out for you. This is it Zana Metz? Scan, please. Yeah. So Zana, you run, you know, you seem to run a pattern, a frequency of of always trying to prove yourself. It's like you try to prove yourself of being a woman, even. That makes sense for you. You know, it's like you're always like you're like on a slippery slope, and if you don't do anything, it's like a hamster wheel, basically, or a slippery. It's more like a slippery slope. Hamster wheel, you stop and you just like stare there, right? Although you're not going anywhere. You're just in one spot. But for you, Zana, it's more of a slippery slope. You keep like struggling upwards, and then you reach a position, but then you don't have enough energy to keep going further, okay? Because it gets a little more slipperier, and I'll explain why. So basically, what you do is like you take a breather, and then you just literally slide back, and then you have to try again. So again, in your scenario, you're always proving yourself. You're always proving yourself to be, a woman. You're always proving yourself to be whatever, this or that. You're always proving yourself in, say, relationships. And then when people start to prove themselves, people around you think that you're to blame for some of the woes, because again, if you're proving yourself to things, then they go, oh, well, if they're trying to prove themselves, then that means that they're not congruent with themselves. They're telling a lie. In a sense, it kind of is, right? Because you're not solidly anchored. So again, you're not telling a lie, but you have a propensity, again, to slip away from space and time. So take a breath in. Let's give you a strong foothold. This is where spatial referencing for you, and we do this on, we do this on the THR 18 days. Spatial referencing for you start to become aware of external reference points, and then your point on your body. Okay, it'll really help you out. Again, it sounds weird, but notice again, say the couch in front of you, whatever is in front of you, the couch in front of you, and then a point on your body, like the tip of your nose. And you'll start to see that you'll anchor yourself. You literally, the slippery slope is that you can't anchor yourself in space and time. Okay. Let's see. This one resonate at a certain frequency based on space and time. Yep. When you start to, it's actually the reverse. When you are in a certain dimension of yourself, you resonate at that proper frequency. Okay. So you ask yourself, okay, it's like, what dimension of space and time, even if you don't understand it, your higher logic, okay, does, right? It knows the math. It knows the equations. Just ask yourself, okay, what dimension do I have to be to become abundant, for example? Okay. And then everything else, your mindset, your state of mind, your emotional intelligence, everything starts to accommodate you when you get into that dimension of space. Josephine Panda, am I on target with Total Human Reset? So yeah, so what you've done now is Total Human Reset has given you, say, a confidence. So you've been rewired to resonate, say, a certain level of confidence. And this is where, back in the day, you used to get, say, maybe pushed around. But now, Josephine, you're taking hold of yourself. You're taking control of yourself, and you're starting to become particular in who you hang out with, what you do, even the thoughts in your mind. So yes, absolutely, you're on target. The next action that you could take is like, in the morning when you wake up, just even ask yourself, okay, like what actions can I take? Because frequency wise, you become solid, but now you got to reproduce it in physical form. So in the morning when you wake up, what actions can I take? What body language can I use? What posture can I use? What vocabulary can I use? What self-talk can I use to, again, create that confidence that I know deep inside? How do I create it in physical form now? Okay, so that's a question that you want to ask. Okay, in the morning, and then at night you go, what patterns can I delete? Okay, how am I doing, Moss? This is Rasha Sarek. So for you, you have like a familiar or familial frequency that say controls or dictates you. So basically, it could be your culture or your family culture. But take a breath in. Just notice your chest area here. I don't know if you have breathing issues, or you might have had breathing issues, or basically you get suffocated or you feel suffocated, which might morph into, say, a physical feature of you. But basically, when you're in a group, I see you around in a group, no matter what it is, a familial group, like aunts, uncles, relatives, or say a work group. Over time, what happens is that group becomes suffocating to you. And then you go start another group. Okay. Or you go to another group and goes, this feels better. But what you're actually doing, Rochelle, is that you're actually starting to, you start to absorb the other people's frequencies. And, say there's the bigger the group, obviously, the more you absorb, and it becomes overwhelming, again, almost suffocating for you. Okay. So what you want to do again is spatial referencing. You've done a great job so far. You're starting to become aware of the issues that you're running. And at first you might go, well, I'll just stay away from everybody, which is cool. And that's a good start for you. So one, go inwards and start to understand like who you really are, again, through THR or the 18-day programs coming up, or some of the other patterns. Okay. And then this is where you'll start to see that, again, you'll start to have your own identity of who you are. And then once you have your own identity, you can go and test it in groups. And once you're there, you'll start to go, oh, you're going to reference, oh, they're that way, I am this way. So you spatial reference in, again, people's frequencies, which is the next level. And then you reference people's realities, and then you. Okay. So it's a nice place, Rashad, to be in. This is where you're starting to really understand who you are, which is really beautiful. Okay. This is Angel Grace. Let's see here. Oh, I'm making good time here, guys. So Angel Grace. So Angel Grace. So I don't know if you were adopted or went to a boarding school or whatever, but it just feels like you're disconnected from your parents. Or again, if you were adopted, your parents wouldn't be your parents. So there's a disconnect there. Okay, so you don't have, So what's happening is that you're really, really self-sufficient. You're somebody that can take care of themselves on their own. But then people who are like that, people who, I don't know, say, ran away from home, like the age of 14, whatever, that kind of pattern, they become really street smart, but then they always have this chip on their shoulder of not being, say, wanted. Get it? So that's the pattern that you're running. You, Angel, are about to, say, disconnect or release that pattern. So congratulations. So take a deep breath in, where you go, hey, you know what? I am deserving. I am wanted. Okay. Take a breath in. If that's what you want, I can help you. Notice the neck. I don't know if you have neck issues as well. It's almost like somebody pushing on you as well. Again, comment in if I scan you. There we go. So this is where you're not always, again, thinking that you have to be in lack to be the best for yourself, because that's what people do, right? There we go. So this is where, again, deserving patterns come in. This is where, you can connect with relationships better. So, which again, a nice place to be. This one, Lauren Hawks, how's my spiritual progress? Well, it's really interesting question. Becoming really spiritual. What does spirituality mean, or what does a spiritual experience mean, right? Some people go through psychedelics, and by the way, we're going to do more and more psychedelic meditations, especially if you're going to Burning Man. I think we're going to go to Burning Man. So those all in favor of going to Burning Man, um, or the yeah, yep. Yep. So take a breath in. What was it um, Lauren? Yeah, take a breath in, guys. So again, Burning Man is not about going there, doing drugs, sex, and all that stuff. It's not. We're going there because there's so many people that have a strong desire, okay, to know who they are. So they think that doing all the stuff, like psychedelics, and there's nothing wrong with psychedelics if you do it properly. But just like religions were supposed to free you, spirituality, and then, being your own person was supposed to free you back in the 60s and 70s. Everybody wants to be free, burning their bras and all that stuff, right? And now we've gotten to the point that none of those things that we've tried in the past freed them. That's the key. So now the big thing, and this gets even worse, by the way, there are major investors investing in psychedelics, which is a telltale sign. When there's money that goes involved in that space, and there's nothing wrong with money, but the improper use of money, now you're going to have genetically modified psychedelics, and they're talking about it. You can literally create through a 3D printer, computer, right? What do they call that? Yeah, 3D printers. You can actually go, oh, this gene pool or this certain chemical thing, and people are creating their own chemical. It's not good, because again, that's just surface level, just like AI. So again, do not, anybody who's trying that stuff out, or if you know people, do not use the manufactured type psychedelics. Right? Not really good for you, because there is so much genetic coding that goes beyond, again, the physical, say, chemical structure of psilocybin. They're literally 3D printing psilocybin and all these other things. It really destroys consciousness, by the way. And again, so in the past, take a breath, Lauren. I'm still working on you, but and other people as well. In the past, again, religions, extreme sports, extreme situations, like the Navy SEALs do that to enhance people's abilities and so on. Religion, spirituality, and now all these things haven't worked. So it's like, shit, we're gonna go try something different, psychedelics. So it's a recycle of what happened in the 60s, and look what happened in the 60s, right? A lot of people got fucked up by that stuff. A lot of people are going to get fucked up by doing that stuff again. Again, it's just a recycle of history. Just look at what happened back in the day. Alcohol, all those things. So again, so we're going there, and we're going to talk about psychedelics. Not because I'm against psychedelics or for psychedelics. It's just like, if you're going to use psychedelics or not use psychedelics, because we can generate frequencies that are very similar to that through XI. You want to do it the proper way. So you want to use a tool in the proper way. That's why we're going to Burning Man. Again, a lot of beautiful people going there, wanting really a deep desire to expand into their potential possibilities. That's what that universal power frequencies or wisdom is about, that I talked about. Yeah, universal power frequencies is about, right? Redoing it, so those things back in the day that was supposed to free you are going to actually free you. Same thing with psychedelics. So it's going to be quite interesting. So back to you, Lauren. And again, I'm working on you. I think I was working on your father as well, by the way. Your spiritual progress. You actually, this is where spiritual progress is important. In the past, you used to escape yourself for a spiritual connection or that spiritual experience. Now, what you're doing, congratulations, Lauren, is that you stepped into your body and you have an intimate connection with your consciousness that we talked about, your spirit, if you want to call it, your timeless self, and your physical body. And that's a spiritual, say, experience that everybody is seeking. Lots of different ways that haven't worked out. XI is that way to make it work out. So now you're connected to yourself, and then you can expand and go, oh, this is what the possibilities are. So you're actually doing really well, Lauren. Nice job. Okay. Oops. Someone's saying, "Oh, Jesus, can you scan me?" Thank you. Uh, Jesus said that, in the future there will be many or people that can do far greater things than he can, right? And this is the consciousness. This is the possibilities, not just me. Guys, I could be that pioneer for you all that goes, hey, Jesus was right. There's a possibility that we can. And that's the next stage of evolution for us. It's not just, say, a single being that can bring that about. It's just the consciousness is allowing us, and that's what he was predicting. It's like there's a consciousness that's going to roll in, that's going to give us all humanity possibilities of understanding like I do, right? And that's what Jesus would have said. Right? What would Jesus say? That's what he'd say. It's like, oh, I predict that in the future, possibilities of all people awakening and understanding their true reason of why they're here is going to happen. Hence, more people will be awakened to his almost his level or more. Okay, in the future, it's just a process of evolution. Take a breath in. So again, for you, whoever said that, I lost your space. So sorry. I forgot your name now. I can't like tap into you. So I have to read. Um, Even if it says scan me, again, it holds frequencies that I scan, but I lost where you are. Anyway, so so anyway, so this is the consciousness. This is why there's a lot of upheaval going on, by the way. It's like you can choose the new consciousness, or you can choose the old. And by the way, when I talk about Jesus, I'm not talking about religion. Okay? I'm talking into the brilliance, the timeless brilliance that he tapped into, universal wisdom, right? Universal wisdom and worldly wealth. That's what the universal power frequencies are all about. I'm very cautious about psychedelics, something that takes me out of my body. Exactly. Christina, this is the deal with psychedelics. Take a breath in, and we'll put you into your body. Is that, and again, once you are intact and complete in your body, take a breath in. Notice your sternum bone, Christina. Psychedelics could be good for you. Okay. But most people, they try to solve their problems with psychedelics. Okay. So think of it this way. So what happens, and again, Dr. Andres Lopez, mushrooms rewire the antenna. We'll talk about that as well. So what most people do in psychedelics, again, take a breath in, is, and we'll talk about it in future. But basically, what you do is like you got a shitload of problems. It's like, God, I got to escape this reality. Okay, so what happens is that psychedelics or an altered experience, no matter how you do it, a euphoric experience, like a death could be an altered experience. Somebody else's death, awakens you to altered experiences. A job promotion, a divorce, again, those get you into altered states, which gives you an opportunity to see the patterns that you're running. But most people don't use it properly. So in the case of psychedelics, what happens is it's just a quicker form of the experiences that you go through. Just straight out simple. Okay, through chemical distraction, I would call it, not chemical distractions in your brain. So just note that. So what happens is like you got a lot of shit that you're trying to clean up. It's like, hey, I got to escape, so I'm going to go to a higher realm of myself and understanding. It's like, whoa, this is really cool, man. This is awesome. But then when you come back down, it's like shit. You're enlightened, so to speak, in a little bit, but your garbage, it doesn't show you how to clean that garbage up. It just basically helps you understand that you've got more garbage. So when you go do those experiences, myself with all this pile of garbage here, there's another version of me over there. So literally, it separates you from your identity of your physicalness of who you think you are, including your genetics. And you go, you know what? Instead of coming back down and landing in my pile of garbage, I'm going to go land over there. And again, this is how we train you to use psychedelics properly. Mushrooms are really great. The reason why mushrooms are fantastic, or again, organic psychedelics, not altered psychedelics like today's marijuana, they modify the gene structure, and that's what messes up the underlying frequencies that we all need, right? So mushrooms are really good, and the reason why they're good, certain mushrooms, is because they have high intelligence. Okay. uh, and again, AI, basically they read the forest, right? They read where they're going, they understand it, they communicate with other amazing fungi. It's an amazing documentary, right? So that intelligence is ingrained in the mushrooms, including the psilocybin that relaxes certain aspects of your brain. So when they recreate that in the lab, they're just taking the psilocybin, not all the intelligence around the psilocybin. So again, you want to use non-GM. Look what happened to food, genetically modified food. Okay, genetically modified psychedelics will fuck you up even more. Okay, simple as that. So anyway, in this case, the mushrooms get you back into recognizing that you are of nature, and that's what the most important thing about mushrooms. Okay, and we'll talk. I'll talk more about that as we get into it. Went to Burning Man, Wild Time. Yep. So again, we're going to do it right. Um, if you're hell bent, guess where you're going to find yourself? Hell bent, actually. You're constantly improving yourself. All right, one last scan, guys. Let me just. So I used to do mushrooms when I was young. Hope it did me good. Oh, that last person I was reading. So basically, what I was helping you is you're always in fear of losing your identity of who you are. So what I was helping you with, just to close that up, just to close that scan up, what I was helping you with is like, no, you're here, you're safe here. Okay? So as a child, you were very fearful. Okay? So Fantastic Fungi on Netflix. Thanks for that. So if you've done mushrooms and whatever in the past you don't do, that's fantastic. We can use the experience. If you had a near death experience back in the day when you were young or whatever, we can use that experience, because again, time at the higher levels, it's not a constant. So you can go back to your time value, and this is where Einstein says everything happens all at once if it wasn't for time. So again, you can. It's still alive. It's still a continuum on your dimensional space or dimensional self. You can go back to that dimension and recreate yourself or redesign it. You can't change what happened to you, but you can change the effects of it. So if you've had a mushroom or whatever psychedelic experience, or you even used to be alcoholic and you're not anymore, right? Again, that's a disconnect of your body. We can go back and then reset your state or what you learned or why you did those things back in the day. So again, it's not the experience that we change, because that's written in time. That's a physical time-bound experience, this time-bound experience. But what you take, what your essence or what your logic or what your spirit took away from that experience is the important thing. And we can change that back there to help you change your present moment. Okay. This one will end with that. Been changing so much. All I can do is sleep the last 3 days. Yep. Hannah, what you're doing is really fantastic. Yeah. So sleep. Okay. And the reason why is you're really restructuring yourself. So just think of yourself as an infant. Infants sleep a lot. Why? Because they're growing, right? They're growing, they're healing themselves into a better version. So a lot of you might sleep a lot. You might get tired. Again, especially with the good foods on in Total Human Reset, good foods, exercise. It's because you're nurturing yourself. So sleep a lot, take care of yourself, take naps. Okay. It helps you connect with time. All right, guys, we could go on and on. I think really powerful session here. Join us next week. Tell your friends about it, guys. Okay. Notice what you notice. Notice the details. All right. Peace.